Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Jagannath Swami Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Jamuna Mai ki jai, Jalangi Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, Shri Shri Gauritai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna ki jai, Shri Jagannath Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Nṛsiṁha Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Bhakta Prahlāda ki jai, Nṛsiṁha-caturdaśī ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Viṣṇu Daya Krishna Prasthaya Guru Vishnu Vedānta-sūtra. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Vanicharya Shri 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 Namaste. So welcome to our Sunday Satsang, and today's a very special day because it's Nṛsiṁha-caturdaśī. So Lord Nṛsiṁha appeared in the very early days of this universe to save his devotee, Prahlāda, and also to show that his devotee is always truthful. Because Prahlāda was explaining to his demoniac father, oh, Lord Viṣṇu is everywhere. And his father said, you mean he's even in this pillar? And so Prahlāda said, yes, he's even there. And so Hiraṇyakaśipu struck the pillar with his sword, and out from the broken pillar jumped Lord Nṛsiṁha in the form of half man, half lion. So we have Lord Nṛsiṁha is with us today in his childhood lion form, which is very kind. You see, I have a special relationship with Lord Nṛsiṁha because when I was in San Francisco in 2003, I had actually started work on the Vedānta-sūtra. And I was wondering, well, who's going to read this? And meanwhile, I was doing some very advanced practices that sadhu from Vrindavan had taught me about how to realize my eternal identity in relationship with Krishna. So one day, I just realized that actually my main spiritual relationship is not exactly with Krishna, but with Lord Nṛsiṁha, and specifically this childhood form of a baby lion in Vrindavan. And this was a wonderful realization, but at first I was very doubtful about it because, of course, I had never read anything in the scriptures about it. It's very confidential. It's not even mentioned in the scriptures. So I was walking down the street one day, and I happened to pass by a toy store. And I looked in the window, and here he was, looking out the window right back at me. So I said, "Oh, this is too much. It can't be a coincidence." But you know, it's much too expensive. There's no way that I can afford him. Because I had seen some ads on the internet, you know, for big stuffed animals, and they were like $300 or something like that, way out of my range. So I walked on down the street, and then I thought, I'll go back and ask, just for the heck of it. And so I went to the toy store and I asked, how much is that lion in the window? The one with the anyway, he said, $53. And I went, yes, sold. Whoops. Anyway, he's been with me ever since, my faithful companion and friend. So, Lord Nṛsiṁha's appearance day is always very special. And if you want to know more about Lord Nṛsiṁha, on our website, in the upper left-hand corner of every page in the main site, is a picture of Lord Nṛsiṁha, looking very beautiful, golden color. And if you click on that picture, you will go to the complete story, complete narration of the story of Lord Nṛsiṁha as given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So instead of telling the whole story right now, I'll just, if you don't know it or if you haven't heard it, I would recommend that you go to our site, esotericteaching.org, and click on the lion picture, and then you'll get the whole story in much more detail than I could tell it right now. Today I want to talk about consciousness. And especially I want to talk about the ontology of consciousness, and specifically how the ontology of consciousness is revealed in Vedānta-sūtra. Most of you know I'm doing a literary project of updating our Sampradaya's commentary on Vedānta-sūtra for the present day. And what that means is basically I'm taking the commentary and I'm adding background material to explain the issues and topics that are being discussed, because Vedānta-sūtra is very esoteric. We'll talk about the esoteric teaching. It's about as esoteric as it can get. So Vedānta-sūtra is very difficult to understand, mainly because there's so much left unsaid. Well, first of all, what is a sutra? A sutra means a very short, pithy, telegraphic, just a reminder of a much larger body of truth or information. For example, if you send a telegram, you don't explain everything in many, many words. You use as few words as possible, because a telegram, or at least back in the days before the internet, a telegram was very expensive. So, you know, you would just say, package didn't come, stop, or something like that. Very, very short. So a sutra is similar. A sutra tries to tell a story or explain a truth about spiritual life in the most economical way, the fewest words possible. And the way I usually explain this is that Vyasadeva had been instructed by his spiritual master, Narada Muni, to write about the pastimes of the Lord. And of course there's all kinds of issues associated with this, because in the Vedas, some people interpret the presence of the Lord impersonally. Other people pervade the presence, interpret the presence of the Lord to mean a localized presence like Paramatma. And then some realize the personality of Godhead. So Vyasadeva wanted to make it clear, first of all, what level of God that he's talking about. He's talking about the personality of Godhead, the personal form of the Lord. And then he wanted to make sure that everybody understood all these different issues in the Vedas that seem to refer to other things. The Vedas are very extensive. They're very voluminous. And they talk about all kinds of things. But he wanted to make it clear that the real intent and purpose of the Vedas is to talk about Brahman, or the personality of Godhead. So just like, for example, if I was writing a book about musical composition, I might begin the book by explaining about scales, chords, even the intonation of the notes that we're using for composition, the different harmonic values, and a whole system of theory for understanding the structure of music and so on and so on and so on. And then only at the end of the book I might get into the actual subject of musical composition, because you have to know all these other things in order for those topics to make sense. Similarly, the Vedas talk about many different things. They talk about sacrifices. They talk about inquiry from a spiritual master. They talk about even fruitive work, the different duties of the different orders of society, like the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and so forth. So there are many topics in the Vedas that appear to be different from their real subject matter. So Vyasadeva wants to clear it up once and for all, that the Vedas are actually about Brahman. And by Brahman, we mean the personality of Godhead. He wants to make this very clear.